And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. I'm your host Dan, aka smAsho. We are looking at the sun here in 94 angstroms. We see an SDO calibration move, a sunspot in the southwest, and I believe there's one rising in the southeast. We see a big coronal hole. We're about to get struck by a coronal hole wind stream today or tomorrow out of those northern coronal holes. So we're expecting a possibility of geomagnetic storm, minor geomagnetic storm conditions in the next day or two. I'll say over the next 24 hours. We've got some custom movies, including one that we've never even shown before. It's a three-way, including the magnetogram, the 304 angstroms, and the 171 angstroms all at the same time. It looks like we've got some rotational problems there. They're not fully synced, it looks like. And the reason we put this one up today is because we just saw some magnetic mixing happening toward the front. We see a South Pole main umbra there, and we see a bunch of North Pole field having just formed around it recently. So it could be setting up to do some flaring. Got some more wonderful views here, including the 304 angstroms. Filamentary behavior in the southeast. See that filament collapse there, as well as the SDO maneuver, and a little bit of a brightening there. Also in the northeast, there was another very large filament, and that's part of the reason why we think there is a sunspot lurking behind that plage. So we don't see any ombre yet. At least when I did show prep, there was no ombre. And by the end of the video, we'll let you know what's going on with it. Next, we've got sunspot 2776 down there in the southwest. A great view of that in 171 angstroms. Always a delightful wavelength when you've got activity on the solar disk. And last but not least, we've got the 335 angstroms view. Again, we don't always show this one, but a good opportunity to show some of its capabilities. It's another one of the ionization states of extremely hot iron gas. So, ionized iron, I'm not sure exactly which number of electrons it has or doesn't have. 335 angstroms. It's got that blue color. And the sun's got some metals going on. Let's get to some data. The radio flux still at 75. The same as yesterday. And for you new viewers, thanks to our new subscribers, the radio flux coincides with sunspot number. The corona emits 10.7 centimeter radio flux. Next, looking at the KP index, it's currently at 1, having reached geomagnetic unrest briefly. Yesterday, actually, it was probably while we were viewing the show. And by the way, we do watch the live premieres with our viewers, as I'm not only smAsho, but I'm also a client. As part of the reason we make the videos is to cast them onto a big screen so that I am able to get the information with a little bit more graphical quality than viewing on a computer monitor. So in any case, I haven't seen any solar flaring the past 24 hours. We see a flatlined X-ray flux and a flatlined proton flux. We don't expect big changes in that coming as a result of the coronal hole wind stream, but we are expecting to see a marked increase in the solar wind density, followed by a dip in the solar wind density and an increase in the solar wind speed. So currently it's very uneventful. Current solar wind speed 355 kilometers a second, solar wind density 8 protons per cubic centimeter. Here's a visualization of the magnetosphere. We have seen a small increase in the electron flux, and we'll get to it in a minute. Today's video is slightly truncated, by the way, and the pressure here in the magnetosphere is pretty equilibrated. We see similar amounts of pressure in the magnetotail region as in the bow shock region. So you see that ring-like appearance on the equatorial plane, and you can see that happen when you see a real consistent solar wind over a 24-hour period, for example. This is only 4 hours of data, and it looks like it's back to showing the full data set today. Here are ground magnetic perturbations, and we show this every day since there is a geomagnetic excursion happening. As we've got a south pole somewhere south of Australia, in between the Antarctic continent and Australia, and a North Pole over Siberia, and a second North Pole over northern Canada, northeastern Canada, really. And we'll cover a whole lot of magnetic stuff today, for those of you who actually read the title before you watched the video. And we saw high highs and high lows in the magnetometer here. We'll see if we can get to the bottom of that. Some pretty wild dips here too. Around midnight, which is what that M means. The N stands for noontime for the GOES 16. Next, looking at the magnetic environment of the heliospheric current sheet. And while we are solidly in the North Pole current sheet, that could suddenly change here. Again, it looks like that active region rising in the northeast is a sunspot. And we can see a whole bunch of right at the end. Let me bring up the last frame. Oh, maybe it wasn't the last frame. We can see some structures right here, right where my pointer is. And anyway, we could suddenly jump into the South Pole current sheet. That's just the way it works. Keep in mind the data is 1 hour and 19 minutes old, and the magnetic environment can suddenly change with slim to no warning. And next, looking at the B field here on the line of sight field plot, and you can see it being pulled up toward that active region significantly right at the end, right there. And that is an indication that there probably is a sunspot behind all those filaments. Next, we'll look at the magnetic field plot of just the corona, as best we can guess. And you can see a bunch of stuff happening here, looking like some coronal holes interacting with the south solar polar field, perhaps. And it's showing you coronal hole potential field force lines in purple, closed potential field force lines in pink, and open potential field force lines in black. And while today's Smash Lights is integrated, it'll be very short, as we've got just one video being produced today. Perhaps we may make another video later this afternoon. That's a surprise who that will be. There'll be a guest. So stay tuned for that, perhaps, or it'll happen tomorrow. So either probably on Friday is my best guess. So today's Smash Lights is going to be a little bit shortened, and we're not even going to talk about COVID because it's statistically irrelevant. In my opinion, the pandemic is over because if you take any highly communicable viral vector and you sort of over-measure it, in other words, let's say there's a virus that's completely harmless, but everybody's convinced that it's very deadly. If you start testing everybody for the completely harmless virus and then publishing case numbers, you can imagine how that would affect people's panic level of understanding. By the way, it's up to you to mansa. And when I say mansa, I mean make America not suck again. That is a nonpartisan shirt. And if you pick one up via the Teespring links below the video, make sure you enter the promo code MANSA on checkout. That will be relevant through October 31st. Promo code MANSA to save 10% on any orders via our Teespring stores. We talk about cosmology regularly here at the Smash News Network. Let's talk about magnetospheres. As we talk about magnetospheres regularly also, where does the Earth's magnetosphere come from? Where does the Sun's magnetosphere come from? Now, while we have theories about that, or I guess you could say hypotheses about that, we're not going to really talk about it today. We're going to keep this one kind of short, as this is a recorded video instead of a live stream, which we typically do most days at twitch.tv/SmaSho. smAsho. So this is just a diagram of the Earth's magnetosphere here, showing you the bow shock region where the solar protons start to interact with the Earth magnetically speaking. And what's the point? Well, stars have magnetic fields also, and we've updated the most, as now it's including NGC 1624-2, which is this Type O blue giant. And this is probably right near the galactic core of this diffuse galaxy here. Again, that's NGC 1624-2. So we've got a entire cosmology forum here at smAshomash.com/forum. You're hereby invited to go check it out. And one of the threads on the cosmology forum is the most. So we've just completed the 3rd page here. Now we're in 4 pages of the most. The most powerful magnetic fields seen in a Type O star on a complex magnetospheric structure. Yes. Now, this probably indicates that it's got stellar spots, but what a stellar spot would look like, a stellar spot would be the equivalent of a sunspot on a star that isn't the sun. What they look like, who knows, as this is a star that's about 10 times the hotness, 10 times the brightness, and probably has about 10 times the solar wind output in terms of both density and velocity. So, if you want to read about that, check out smAshomash.com/forum. This article's from phys.org. And let's talk about some more cosmology stuff. It's the cosmic ray segment. Here's the past 30 days at Apatity, and you can see a downtick over the past 30 days at Apatity. Here's a downtick over the past 30 days at Barentsburg as well. So those are some very far north located. I just clicked on something by accident. Those are very far north located cosmic ray detectors. Here's Athens. And you can see Athens pretty flat here over the past 30 days. So going a little farther south, you see a little bit different measurements there. Next, going a little farther south than that to Mexico City. Let's see if theirs is back online. I think this one was down a few days ago. And we do check cosmic rays regularly on the channel. See our old videos and playlists for details. And Mexico City is down. And Mexico City is back up. How about them apples? Excellent. And you can see Mexico City is flat over the past 30 days. And last but not least, we'll look at Oulu, Finland, and one Antarctican monitor, DOMC. Here's Oulu, Finland. Going back up very far north, you see a small downtick at Finland. Shout out to Ulla Odrup. Thanks for telling me how to pronounce Oulu, Finland. I greatly appreciate it, as that is one cool language. And there's DOMC Antarctica, fairly flat over the past 30 days. If you want to monitor these yourself, just look up links to cosmic ray data. You'll be directed to this site. It's pretty easy to find. And that's the end of our cosmology segment. By the way, don't forget to follow us on Alt Tech. Again, we are on twitch.tv/smAshomash. We usually live stream our daily space weather videos to there. Thanks to our new YouTube subscribers, etc. If you enjoy the content, please press like and subscribe on YouTube. Visit our links, help to support the channel via our various links. And we would remind big tech that you can't break the internet, but the internet can break you. So, this one goes straight out to YouTube. YouTube, you've been warned. Demonetize our videos at your own risk, because we're documenting all of your ephemeral experiences. And for you viewers out there and you content creators, realize that a demonetized video is a shadow ban by definition, because YouTube prefers to show you in the up next links videos that are monetized so they can play ads. It serves obvious purposes for their business model. So if you think that your video getting demonetized doesn't shadow ban you, think again. It is the definition of a shadow ban. And by the way, Eric Schmidt described shadow bans in 2013, as early as 2013, to Business Insider magazine, who's since scrubbed the article. And back in 2013, the term shadow ban didn't even exist, but I'd already stopped using Google as a search engine. Next, we're also on BitChute, and I would advise everybody to branch out into alt tech as much as possible. Get on Minds, get on Gab, get on all the different sites, because censorship is rampant and there's electioneering going on. Have you noticed? Is it starting to make you a little bit angry? Well, here at the Smash News Network, it's kind of making us a little bit angry, but we'll recover, because November 4th is another day, isn't it? All right. Let's look at electrons. As the Earth's magnetosphere orients the electrons, it isn't the electrons, but the electrons orient to the potential field force lines, actually to the real field force lines around the Earth. Where those electrons come from, well, it's a bit of a, there's a lot of conjecture, let's just say that. Here's the 1-year graph of the relativistic electrons out there in our Van Allen belts. They're in a nominal range right now. We don't see charging hazards. We're expecting a little bit of an uptick here, and I would say this forecast is probably incorrect, because when the coronal hole wind stream strikes, you're going to see a downtick in the electron flux, as those solar protons really want to react with electrons. We won't get into the chemistry of it today. That's for a different video. Here's the total electron content visualization. And you can see once again some anomalies here over North America and northern Canada, as well as over northern Africa at nighttime. We'll let that play through a second time there. This gives you an idea of GPS errors, folks, and this is showing you the entire air column from the thermosphere all the way down to where your GPS handset would be in your hand. And it's fairly accurate. You may find that you can actually corroborate the data with your own personal GPS errors. And if you want to do that, make sure you turn off Wi-Fi, what do you call it? Interpolating. Don't allow it to use Wi-Fi to determine your location, as that will refute the GPS data. Use only raw GPS data if you want to see the errors, and you'll probably be able to corroborate those electron shells. Next, looking at just one slice of the atmosphere, it's the ionosphere, and it's looking pretty normal here. Nothing too exciting happening there. And are you enjoying your spring in the southern hemisphere? To all of our viewers located south of the equator, there's the latest image of the ionosphere, and it's looking pretty normal at 8:45 universal time. And here's a star chart I like to use, in-the-sky.org. Where will you be when Deneb sets? Do you even know anything about it? Head to smashomash.com/forum in the cosmology segment if you want to read all about one of the more interesting stars, if not the most interesting star in the entire sky, certainly for the northern hemisphere. You may also see Venus and Mars if you're up before dawn. Here's where stuff is in the solar system, as Earth is slowly pulling away from Mars. Some great imagery of it, though, as we approach another full moon. And we saw some deep earthquakes happen here, as well as some interesting volcanic activity at Bezimiani. We'll get to it. First, let's look at quakes. Nothing over about a 5.5 magnitude here. Here's a deep quake at the Kermadec Islands, a deep quake at southern Alaska. Indonesia sees a deep quake at 4.5 magnitude at 189.1 kilometers depth. Papua New Guinea sees a 5.1 magnitude quake at 181 kilometers depth. So some deep quakes, nothing big. And the biggest quake of the past 24 actually happened while we recorded the show here. It's a 5.7 near Tonga at 236 kilometers depth. Here's Bezimiani exploding in fairly epic fashion, producing a 31,000-foot ash plume out there on the Kamchatka Depression. Abiko also erupting, 12,000-foot ash plume there. Semeru exploding, flight level 140, 14,000 feet there. Volcanic Ash Advisory Center issued the following report. 7,000-foot ash plume at Dacono. And Rupahu. Rupahu has got some open vents. So there are clearly two vents open underneath the lake, as we see sulfur slicks on the surface and some heating cooling cycles happening. So perhaps Rupahu preparing to explode, and it's all full of water, and those what do they call them? phreatic explosions can be extremely violent. And that volcano is right in the middle of the North Island, sort of in the northwest portion of the North Island of New Zealand. Great Sitkin has been downgraded as the seismicity has gotten less at Great Sitkin. Fuego has dissipated its ash, and so has Nevado del Ruiz, which I was not even aware was erupting. Sabancaya is still exploding, producing a 23,000-foot ash plume. Please don't pole vault the caldera. Please leave us a comment if you've pole vaulted a caldera. Lots of weather advisories as we see record early snow falling all across the northern plains and the northern Rockies. By the way, I would remind you to follow me on Twitter. It's twitter.com/smashamash. It's a brand new account. We've only got 69 followers. I've only really been tweeting personally for the past short period of time, only a couple months or so. And just let me take this moment to talk about climate, okay? Climate, carbon dioxide, and reality. Either understand them or don't attempt to make idiotic policy about carbon dioxide. You'll be held accountable, government officials, so plan accordingly. Dummies. Accountability for thee, not for me, said every ineffective bureaucrat in history. So, by the way, please increase your carbon dioxide footprint. It has nothing to do with climate. Look at the pathetic crowds at the Joe Biden rally. Son of a beehive. Next, we're looking at the jet streams of the eastern world. There you have it. Here are the jet streams of the western world. There we go. I moved it slightly. Yeah, there we go. That's better. That way it shows Europe and Alaska. Check out this low over Bermuda. The Sargasso Sea is a strange place, folks. The Sargasso Sea, which includes part of the Bermuda Triangle and borders Bermuda, one of the weirdest places in the world. It's where eels go to breed. And it's the only sea in the world not surrounded by land. There could still be ghost ships floating around in the Sargasso Sea, as it's full of odd wind currents that are incoherent. Almost like the rantings of a lot of YouTube channels. We're looking at pressure cells right now. We're advancing this on windy.com via the GFS forecast into tomorrow. And I'm going to pause it at about 12 noon tomorrow, my time. Please leave a comment if the government has induced you to drink Mai Tais at 5 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, there's where we anticipate pressure cells via the GFS forecast to be tomorrow morning. I mean tomorrow at noontime, my time. And if you're wondering where we're located, folks, we are located in eastern Pennsylvania in the Lehigh Valley. And I would actually put a mark on it with the Epic Pen, but Epic Pen was epically failing. Next, we did see some lightning strikes. I like to use lightningmaps.org when I hear thunder. Have you tried it? Chicago. Chicago. There's thunder rolling in Chicago. Dag, right by the airport. Son of a beehive, hey DeKalb. There's thunder rolling in. Here's the rest of the planet. Quite a bit of lightning actually kicking off right now. Here's the GOES 16 lightning mapper. Quite a strong band of lightning there. Here's the U.S. Doppler radar map. Wintry mix over South Dakota. Yowzers. Know that that's going to happen before you go drive across those areas. Driving on freezing rain makes driving in snow look like a picnic. Next, looking at the cloud layer, despite the fact that it's dark. And we'll ignore that and move to the water vapor as there's some pretty serious weather happening. And let's click at the tip of Lake Michigan. And there's a great view of the water vapor situation. And that should help you with the Doppler radar map if you're wondering what's going to be happening next. And those are going to pretty much remain in that coherent path. There's going to be a lot of training. And Chicago's going to still continue to get hit for a few hours here. Let's continue on to thank our patrons, the true source of funding for the content, patreon.com/smashamash for perks. You'll get in the credit crawl. It's patreon.com/smashamash. Thanks to our patrons. Again, the true source of funding for the content, as we make about 2 cents per hour via Google, YouTube, AdSense payouts. Thanks, Smash Team. Please join the Smash Team by heading to smashamash.org. Visit the links. As we're growing our organization, we're all over social media. Check out all of those links. There's exclusive content on most of the sites, if not all of them. I think all of them. And don't forget to visit the Smash Store, the Smash Forum, the other Smash Store, and the affiliate links. Today's featured shirt is the Mansa shirt, which again I'm currently wearing. Make America not suck again. It's up to you. We also have a Mensa shirt for our international viewers. Make Earth not suck again. Because it's up to you too. Yeah. Enter promo code MANSA on checkout for any of the products. And there are a bunch of them now. They're all going to be changed. So starting November 1st, you're going to see all different stuff. We've also got the I Survived a Global Pandemic So Far, Smasher Price My First Pandemic, featuring the infantile, pathetic graphic of mankind trying to put a mask over the planet. What a joke. If you'd like to enter the contest to win the Deneb shirt, which is not even available for purchase yet, head to smashamash.com/forum for details. Please keep your head and arms inside the Smash plane at all times, as it's time for me to vanish and show you a bunch of bonus features, including a 193 angstroms 48-hour SDO video, the intensitygram, and the colorized magnetogram. Oh.